Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe, with my co-host, Cantu. On the other side, we are back. It's been a long week, honestly. I think the last we
Absolutely.
recorded was when, I want to say the Marlins series.
Yeah, last week.
We're supposed to do the Ranger series, but things just got, too out of hand. We were too busy going our separate ways. Angel will talk about what he did. I'll talk about what I did for a little. But other than that, what a first half for the Astros. I mean, I think you got to be happy if you're an Astros fan, how the Astros positioned themselves in the American League West. And as of last night, the Astros took first place of the AL West for the first time this season. Um, but we'll have the objectives on the side, of course. First place Astros. We'll talk a little bit there. First half, what MVPs are we going to give? What awards are we going to give out to for the Astros? What they were able to do in this first half of the season. We have our second half predictions as the second half started yesterday, and it will continue on today. First half of the Carne Asada, which that's going to be a that's probably going to be a fiesta. Honestly, it probably is. Train station injury news, draft recap as well. The Astros did do the MLB draft. I want to say their catcher was the first pick of, well, he was the first rounder for the Astros out of Sam Houston State. So they stayed in the state of Texas in that draft recap. We'll talk about that later. And then around the horn with the All-Star week as well. But Angel, we haven't talked to each other for a while. Talk to me, man. I mean, what's the news? What were you able to do? How the vibes?
Yeah, I just took like a week off from all like social media. Like I try not to touch my phone. I was having a family vacation out there in Destin, Florida, just enjoying the sun, enjoying the beach. It was pretty fun. It was pretty fun getting just to unwind a little bit, not worried about nothing else. Yeah, it was my son's first time at the beach. He loved it. Didn't want to get out the water. Like the first day, we took him to the beach, and he was like dipping his finger and then eating the salt. We took him out. He started crying because he wanted to go back in uh, into the water. But yeah, it was really good. How about yours? I know you like. I know I had a relaxing weekend. I know you had a busy weekend. So this like it's two different weeks. But to talk to us about yours.
I mean, yeah, it was busy, but I mean, fun at the same time. Got to cover the All Star game over there in Arlington. Shout out, which side is it? I can't point my finger at it. Arskin on the top right corner. Shout out to them. We were able to do some social content, some stories out there as well, some features with some of the All Stars heading at the All Star week. Of course, we covered the Futures game, Celebrity Softball game, Home Run Derby, Media Day, and then obviously the All Star game being on that Tuesday. But yeah, phenomenal week. Honestly, I'm just very appreciative for that opportunity and highly. I told you off air. I mean, I know you weren't able to do it, but next year, I know you're gonna do it, dude. You have to. You have to. But other than that, I mean, being able to be with the athletes, talk baseball, network with other people around, coming from different parts of the state, out of the state of Texas, it was awesome to network and talk to other people about baseball. But I mean, like you said, no, it was kind of hard working, but we did enjoy it with the family, doing some things out there in Arlington. Even though we've been to Dallas, DFW area for like long as I can remember.
Yeah, like I feel like that is always a great city. I know I might get some backlash on that, but I enjoyed my time there. Good food, good atmosphere. It's, I'm sure it was a great experience for you.
Yeah, I mean everything was good. The home run derby, I did not see Teoscar Hernandez winning it. I just did not. Both of
I
us
mean,
didn't because I had Adolis and you had who did you have? You had was it Pete
it
Alonso
could be.
or Marcel Ozuna?
No, it's Peter Alonso. Yeah,
Yeah, so I did not see Pete Alonso actually even make it past the first round.
that's surprising. Surprising.
I mean, same thing as Adolis Garcia. Alec Bohm, I think, was like kind of the storyline. I was shocked with him. I did not think he had that sneaky power.
And especially with Globe Life Fields being such a hit, like big part too. Like you really have to hit it to hit it out.
Well, yeah, the right side is more shorter than the left side, and you think it'd be an advantage to like a Jose Ramirez, Gunnar Henderson type of player, but the righties kind of stole the show. I did tell you though the dark horse was going to be Bobby Witt. I
They
did
did.
remember that.
They
But
did.
even the national anthem too during, I think the All Star game or the home run derby. I think
I
it was
think
the
it was
home
a
run
home run
derby.
derby. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was,
that's very
it was,
unfortunate for her.
it was botched.
Very unfortunate seeing that happen, that transpire.
Did you see
Uh,
that? What she posted after?
well, yeah, that's a great thing, at least for her.
Mm-hmm. She'll be going to rehab. She said she was drunk.
Honestly,
But
I had Fergie vibes when I was listening to it.
that's what
I'll
my
be
wife
honest
said.
with you.
That's my wife said.
This is that NBA All Star game, kind of like like Fergie singing the national anthem, and the NBA players are like looking around, kind of like, what the hell is happening here? And it was kind of the same thing. I think Alec Boehm even had a they kind of paneled on him in one of the videos when she was singing the anthem, and he had that same kind of look as either Klay Thompson or Draymond Green.
She had a little smirk on his face.
But the All Star week is concluded. Next year's All Star game is going to be at Atlanta, Georgia, for the Atlanta Braves, making their first time since I think the '90s. I want to say that when they hosted the last All Star game over there in the ATL. But other than that, Angel, the Astros 51-46 record as of today. The game hasn't started yet. Won't start at 8:40. They already did post the lineup. The lineup is kind of basically the same, I want to say, from yesterday's ball game. And you know what? Honestly, dude, you take it away. Take it away for the first time.
Ooh. All right. Well, as Lorenzo told you, the Astros are in first place, and they put themselves in a good position before the All Star break, being one game out of first place. And I know part of our topics earlier was that panic button, right? The Astros were 10 games out of out of first place, and even out of 500 at one point, right? So it was just like panic was ensuing. But Zone, I kind of told you, this is a second half team. This is a team that can really pick it up whenever when things get rough, as you saw last year. The Astros were like in first, like won a division on the last day. Like they're that resilient, that relentless. I guess you can say with the logo. And here it is again. After being like behind for so long, now that they're here, you know it's phenomenal. It's like inevitable what the Astros can do, and just that experience really gains ground. Just give me let me give you some facts here. So, per Elias, since 1969, the fastest a team had ever lost a 10-game lead in a division was 33 games, which surprisingly was done twice by the Angels in 1995. The Mariners just lost a 10-game lead in 24 games. 24 games. And then on June 18th, the Astros were 33-40, 10 games out. Just 24 games later, they are now in first place. And then the Astros are the second team in MLB history to go from being 5+ games under 500 and 10 games back and being first place in fewer than 25 games, along with the Miracle Braves of 1914. I don't know. Miracle Braves. It's a great team. I'm sure. They have some superstars there, but the fact that the Astros have to deal with injuries, like Kyle Tucker, they're starting pitching. Lance McCullers might not come back at all, and just deal with the adversity they done to be able to do this with a good Mariners team, and then the defending champions in their division as well. Like that's pretty phenomenal run for the Astros, if I do say so myself. You're on mute.
The motto does go correctly for this year. The slogan, whatever you want to call it, for the Astros, relentless. I did not see them being in first place at this time. We talked about it like, man, 10 games out. We were already having discussions at the way early trade deadline discussions. If the Astros don't make it, if they're 10 games still back, 15 games still back of being in first place for the AL West, should they sell? Are they looking to sell guys like in their last year of their contract, Bregman, Ryan Presley? I mean, we had all those type of conversations, and now where they're at right now, being in first place, just and like you said it perfectly, adversity. They battled through the adversity throughout this first half of the season. Like injuries was like the biggest thing. I don't remember any season that the Astros have been a part of that had so many injuries in the season like this year.
Go back
Having
to
two
back
guys,
years.
yeah, back to back years. But this one, I would say specifically just for the fact that two of their guys had Tommy John surgery.
Okay.
Another guy, which is Nance McCullers Jr., is on a setback right now. It kind of looks like, even though they did say it wasn't a setback, well, it kind of looks like it. Luis Garcia still ramping up, trying to get back to things. And then think about it too. In the beginning of the season, Javier with neck discomfort. Justin Verlander still dealing with some neck discomfort. We'll give you some of the injury news later on the show. Framber Valdez missing a start here and there. Hunter Brown, Spencer Arrighetti, not great starts. And all of a sudden, this team just looks like they could go out and try to make another one for the World Series like they did last year. And really throughout these 21, 22, 23, I mean, they've done an amazing job. 7 ALCS appearances in the last 7 years. I mean, the slogan really goes well how this team is battling adversity, but they are just showing that they are truly relentless. And then, not to even mention, we forgot Kyle Tucker being out for the whole kind of almost the first half, dealing with that shin contusion. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal because that was their best player. That he was playing like an American League MVP at that moment. And then with him being out of the lineup, everybody had stepped up. Yonder Diaz stepped up. John Singleton stepped up. Alvarez, Altuve, Bregman. I mean, I could continue going on, but relentless is the best way to describe the Astros. Basically, how their slogan tells everybody.
Yeah, I agree with you with the starting pitching aspect. I think at one point of this early in the season, the Astros had maybe one starter that you knew was gonna get you a win. That was Ronel Blanco. After that, Framber Valdez was a little iffy here and there. You saw the atrocious start by Hunter Brown and Spencer Arrighetti early on. Like, there was no confidence in that starting pitching early on, right? I think early on, like the fans were like shaking their heads when Hunter Brown's name was penciled in to start, or because you didn't know what you were going to get from him. And Ronel Blanco was the only guy the Astros fans felt confident, seeing get started. But now, what a turnaround by Hunter Brown! That was crucial for this start. And like you said, Kyle Tucker as well. He missed a month and a half and was still an All-Star. That's how great that run he started in, and it just needs to get up from there. Now, I honestly do say, momentum-wise, I think it's Astros. And you saw that yesterday's game with that 3-0 game. Being able to overcome that deficit, I think the Mariners are not hitting the panic button, but they're going to make some moves, especially since their offense can't score runs right now. You being shut out yesterday 3-0, and then now you lost. Like, to make matters worse, you lost the lead in the AL West. I'm sure they're calling other GMs to get some offense going. Now, the difference between the Mariners and the Astros is, on paper, the Mariners are still a better team. Look at their starting pitching. It's literally what's kept them in first place for so long. But the fact that they can't score runs, and then the starting pitching for the Astros have been so not great at times, and being able to overcome this, it just shows the tenacity of this Astros team. And I would say, even though the Astros are still not complete, and you can say the Mariners are sort of complete, I mean, I would say still advantage Astros in that aspect, just because of what they've been able to do.
Yeah, the Mariners are going to try to compete with the Astros. They most definitely need to add some type of hitting, a power bat, a contact bat, or something at the deadline if they're going to compete with the Astros, I think.
Do you question? Sorry, go ahead.
No, but I was going to say, because right now the Astros look like they're in cruise control at this moment.
I would say, do you question the move of trading Eugenio Suarez now?
You have to. I think so. Nothing against Luis Urias or Josh Rojas. Josh Rojas, if you saw the first inning, I don't know if you saw it, put up a 10 plus pitch at bat, 12 pitch, you said. I mean, he's a grinder. The kid is a grinder, but losing a guy that brings in runners, even though he does have a high strikeout rate with Eugenio, that kind of persists the deficit of bringing runners in this Mariners lineup. Julio Rodriguez hasn't had the best year, really the best first half of the season. He's really struggling. Brian McTaggart put out a tweet yesterday that they were booing him in the 8th inning. They're booing their star player. And, I mean, right now the offense just – there's not one guy I would say that's very consistent in that Mariners offense. If I had to think of one guy right now in their offense, in their lineup, I'm kind of leaning towards Cal Riley. I think that guy's been really one of their best hitters, power-wise, runners in scoring position. He does a really good job. Contact. I honestly think he's been one of their best offensive hitters this season, this first half.
Absolutely, yeah. I think he's been like consistent. You could even say too this season.
Mhm. But to add on with the starting pitch, and Mariners have a great starting pitching staff. We're not going to tell you because we've already told you so many times. But the Astros being able to hunker down and kind of like have their confidence at an all time high when they're on the bump. Like, look at that Ranger series. Honestly, I didn't just see how the Astros lost that series. They just couldn't put up enough runs on the board. I mean, they were struggling with runners in scoring position. Um, but other than that, I mean, if you look at that series from the starting pitchers, Ronel Blanco, Spencer Arrighetti, and Hunter Brown, I want to say had pitched at least had given up at least two earned runs in their outings, at least. Because I know Hunter Brown had two, I think Ronel Blanco had two, and I think Spencer Arrighetti had one. So that shows you. I mean, even though they're starting pitch, if you're looking on paper, you're going to go obviously Mariners, but the Astros right now, their confidence looks like it's just up the roof, and it's just going to continue on when you bring back guys like Justin Verlander, when you bring back Luis Garcia. We'd even talk about Jake Bloss. So I mean, Ronel Blanco has really been the star of the first half, and that's what we're going to talk about real quick in our first half. Astros MVP and Angel started off. I mean, I think I kind of touched on who's going to be your first half MVP for the Astros. So by all means, take charge.
Yeah, you have to go with Ronel Blanco. I think he's been the most consistent Astro this far in this first half. Pretty not unfair, but pretty shameful. He wasn't an All Star. I think he deserved it 100%. 9-4 record, 256 ERA. He's actually fifth in ERA there. First in opponent batting average in 169. He's been lights out. If it wasn't for Ronel Blanco, the Astros might not even be in first place right now. They might be either deeper in a hole or still playing catch up, right? At this AL West. It could be worse if Ronel Blanco doesn't pitch the way he does. Like first outing out, no hitter, and then after that, consistent. Yes, he's had a few hiccups here and there, but that's expected. I mean, no one expects a starting pitcher to give quality starts every single outing there, but he's done his job. He's let the defense work when he needs to. He's gotten the big, huge outs when he has to, and really giving the Astros a chance to win every single time he steps on the mound. I think Ronel Blanco is the first MVP just because how huge his contribution has been. Like we said earlier, without him, the Astros might not be in this place. Without him, this rotation has a lot more question marks than it already has. But I think Ronel Blanco, first MVP, has been amazing, has been crucial why the Astros are where they're at right now.
Yeah, I mean, you have to give it to him. And we had talked to Alex Bregman about, you know, seeing, his sharing his thoughts of Blanco not making the All Star team, and he said honestly, this guy, he should be an All Star just like all those other guys. All those other guys proudly deserve it, no matter what. But he even like mentioned that, but Blanco deserves to be an All Star as well. The numbers match up well with some of the pitchers that was on the reserves. But if you think about it now, like looking at it, Angel, we talked about it too. Is it's kind of like a great thing, even though it would have been a cool opportunity for him to be able to partake in them activities, during the All Star break. But for him to rest, he's already gone over the threshold at innings pitch in his career. I think that week really helped him just get some rest days, get back on track, get the mind ready for the second half, because he's been a really pivotal part. And going back to what Bregman had said too, if it wasn't for Blanco, he said they would probably not be in this postseason run as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes a great point, like you were saying. If the Astros didn't have Ronel Blanco being that starting pitcher and that five spot, the rotation, there's a strong chance the Astros would probably be playing catch up, like you said, or they probably would not even be in contention right now.
Yeah, and speaking of our best, just to give you a little perspective, last year was the most innings he's pitched, 52 innings. He's doubled that already this year. He's at 109 innings pitched. That's a big difference, and counting, right? He's gonna pitch the second half of the season if he stays healthy. He's gonna pitch maybe 100 more, so it's gonna be a grinding season for him.
And so is another starting pitcher that I'm going to talk about, which he is my first half MVP, and it's Hunter Brown. The Diesel.
Wow.
The Diesel, the tank, unloading everything that he has in his arsenal. My God. And I've been the one, and I'm going to continue saying it because that's why I said I love when players prove me wrong. And Hunter Brown just did that. I said, and that's Detroit Tigers series. Maybe he just needs to go to the bullpen just to get his stuff back, mechanics right, get the confidence
Okay.
back, and everything like that. I own up to that because you can see potential in a guy like that has kind of comparisons of his mechanics like Justin Verlander, which is a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, I would say, in my opinion. And Hunter Brown, what he has done, bouncing back since late May, and what he's been doing, discipline, consistent, all them big words you want to say about this guy. He's just done a phenomenal job. We can even talk about last night's game too, because he only gave up 2 hits. He didn't give up any earned runs, 6 innings. He could probably beat himself with the 3 walks, because I want to say in all those games he gave up a walk, not game, but the game last night. I want to say the leadoff runner was either a walk or a hit. But other than that, 5 strikeouts as well. And what he's just done, very consistent. Very consistent since the late May. Real quick, posted quality start in 10 of his last 11 starts. He's also pitched through 6+ innings in all 11 of those innings, meaning he leads the team with 11 quality starts, 10 of them in his last 11 starts. That says a lot right there, how good and how well he's pitched in these last couple of games. Can you give credit to the pitch that he was working on, which was that sinker? Or do you just give credit for the kid having his confidence back? What do you think?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think whenever you add a pitch, really makes hitters stink. Not when I just cheat on your fastball and I just sit on your breaking ball, right? Like it makes the hitters think, okay, this might be coming next. Sometimes they guess wrong, right? They don't know what the signs, but I think pitching well, I think that pitch has helped him pitch well, which has helped build his confidence. So it's like a little supply chain, right? He's pitched well.
Mhm.
Oh, as he pitched well, it's worked. That gains his confidence, and I think seeing that, like that's that you said 10 quality starts and then like 11 that starts, that's phenomenal run. Like it's kind of hard to maintain a quality start when you're pitching, just because you have to be pinpoint accuracy sometimes. Like these, like those are major league hitters you're going against. Sometimes they've seen you 3-4 times just because they're in the same division, like those same hitters. So being able to adjust and pitch, I think that's pretty phenomenal. Now I do have a question for you.
Go ahead.
We've seen as everybody in the major leagues, fans as well, seen the worst of Hunter Brown early on, but now seeing the best of Hunter Brown as of late. Do you think he can continue that consistency that that he shows to end this first half?
Definitely. Most definitely. I think sky's the limit for the kid right now. What he's done, like I said, I mean, we've already talked about the numbers, but mentally preparing himself, getting things on track, getting help from veterans like Ryan Presley, Alex Bregman. If you haven't checked that article, go check it out on The Athletic by Chandler Rome. He gives in more depth, from the help of those veterans. So being able to pick other players' brains that's been in the big leagues, that's gone through the worst of times, like for a hitter going 0 for 4, and you're getting a different perspective of a guy that's at the plate like Alex Bregman, then you're getting another perspective of a guy that's in one of the most anticipated parts of the game in the ninth inning or the eighth inning, being either the setup guy or the closer, which Ryan Presley was for so many years with the Astros. You're picking everyone's brain, and not just that, but you're helping other pitchers too. Like he's helped Spencer Arrighetti, because Arrighetti has even told us that Hunter Brown and him kind of talk to each other, one another, because Brown understands where Arrighetti's at. He's a rookie. This is his first time being in the bigs. It could bother. It could make what's the word? Like it can bother a player's mindset going into a game, getting their plans ready, getting the scouting report, preparing for that next start. So honestly, going back to Hunter Brown, I mean, I honestly think he could stay consistent. Whatever he's done, he just proved to you just yesterday, being off for what 6 or 7 days and coming back and still staying consistent, pitching 6 dominant innings against a team that leads first in the American League West. Just think about like when it comes to if the Astros make it to October in the postseason, what he can do there. He's already gone through the bad pitching in that Game 7 of the ALCS against the Rangers, giving up home runs to Adolis Garcia and I want to say another player, but he's already gone through the worst. And that's the biggest thing in life that from the baseball, like taking the baseball standpoint out of it, you're gonna fail in life. It's just how you're going to react and how you're going to pick yourself back up. And that's what Hunter Brown has been doing so far in the beginning and first half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, we're really cut on sky's the limit for this guy. It's only what his second year in the league, and already showing phenomenal success. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, pretty special when everybody had him like I want to say like most improved player coming into this season. But let's talk about the biggest surprises of this season because I mean Ronel Blanco was a big surprise. Hunter Brown picking it back up in the late first half was a big surprise too. But I think we both have bigger surprises, I would say, in the first half. So lead us off. Well, who do you got?
Actually, you go first. I think yours will really be like I didn't even think about it until you
Okay,
brought it up.
let's think about it right now because we're in the pitching aspect still, and it's not a starting pitcher; it is a relief pitcher. And if you could tell me who it is, I'd be shocked. I don't think anybody would tell me in the first take who it would be, and that's going to be Taylor Scott. The South African is
Absolutely.
doing a phenomenal job in the bullpen. 41 games, 6.3 record, a 136 ERA, 43 strikeouts, a 101 whip. I mean, he's just done a fantastic job in the bullpen since the first half of the season, the beginning of the season. He's honestly been one of the guys very consistent in that bullpen, if you even consider Seth Martinez as well.
Hmm.
And we talked about they both kind of look similar to each other, their face. But I don't think anybody had seen him coming. Remember, this guy signed a minor league contract for the season. He was supposed to start in the minors probably in the beginning of the season if he didn't put up great numbers into spring training. And he's been one of the biggest assets out of that bullpen that Joe Espada likes to go to in a difficult situation with runners on, runners in scoring position. Some different scenario, Joe Espada likes to go to him, and he likes to go to Seth Martinez. And it shows why this season. I mean, Taylor Scott has done a really great job in the Nationals uniform. We talked about it before. I don't know if it's just when pitchers come from a different organization, they come here and they just kind of like find their groove or what. But honestly, what he's done since the first part of the season, because if you remember, the back end of the bullpen was like the story of the show for the Astros. Speaking of the bullpen, it was supposed to be Brian Abreu, Brian Presley, Josh Hader. It's 0-0-0 on the board, 7 through 9. But nobody had thought about a middle relief guy who's going to step up in that part because you lost a guy like Ryan Stanek, you lost Hector Neris, you lost Phil Maton. Who's going to step up? Rafael Montero has been struggling. And like I said, Seth Martinez has been very consistent. But Taylor Scott, you got to give it to him as one of the biggest surprises for the Astros this season. And he's been a really great hidden gem for that bullpen.
Absolutely. I think that one surprised all of us, honestly. Anyone who follows the Astros, a big piece for a big question mark for the Astros was the bullpen because they lost Phil Maton, like you said, Hector Neris, and uh, Ryan Stanek, and then bringing him on, I think it left a little head scratching of okay, maybe this is just a guy who's gonna eat up some innings, or just gonna like basically asking how is this guy gonna replace one of them three? Well, he's actually done better than all three of them this season. The three former Astros there, and I mean, like you say, he's been lights out, phenomenal. But my biggest surprise, first base, I think it comes in an important moment just because they just how there was a question marks on the bullpen wise. There's a lot of question marks in the with first base, and who was if Jose Abreu was going to be able to regain his old self. If not, who was going to step up? And at one point, we were talking about how the Astros don't have a backup first baseman. It's Jose Abreu or pretty much anybody else, right? And John Singleton being able to kind of take grasp of that position. He saw an advantage. He saw an opening. He saw Jose Abreu struggling, and what did he do? Stay consistent. Have good at bats. Get the hits when they mattered. Play stellar defense, and I think the Astros have rewarded him with playing time, with being able to control that first base, and he's done phenomenal defensively. And it's a great story. If you ever heard for John Singleton, was with the Astros 24-15, then took a long absence, tried to come back 18, was suspended for a while, then played in Mexico, trying to come up and made his debut again with the 2023 with the Brewers and now the Astros again. And I think he's been the biggest surprise for me this year because, again, Jose Abreu was set to be the starter, and he kind of just took hold of that. He's batting 238, 7 home runs, 23 RBIs, 33 runs. Now, it could have been even far better numbers. Just playing time was pretty limited in the beginning, but it really, uh, it really put the Astros in a good position to focus a little bit more on pitching this trade deadline. Now, do I think they still try to get a bat in first base if the price is right? I absolutely do. Right? I mean, you can never have too many bats, too many good players, right? So, but I think he kind of alleviated that urgency of a first baseman. Right now, you can add maybe an outfielder, or maybe a hard hitting third baseman, or a hard hitting middle infielder. Right? Just like it gives you a little bit more versatile there. Now, I still think they're going to focus on first base. I still think they're going to focus on pitching, but it just kind of gives the Astros a little bit of hope that if they are not able to sign somebody, a big bat, they can rely on John Singleton to be there.
Yeah, I think Big Bad John has just done a phenomenal job at first base, being in the corner. Even you could give even a mini shout out to Mauricio Dubon. Both of those guys taking the opportunity where it's given, and they've done a good job holding down first base whenever they need to. We've talked about the splits with lefties. Dana Brown had mentioned that too. When John Singleton and a lefty starting pitcher comes up to the mound, you're probably not going to see Singleton in the lineup, and Mauricio Dubon has stepped into the first base role. And we've talked about it. I think the Astros are more than likely are going to go after a first baseman, but like you were saying, Angel, I think it just has to be the price is right. I don't know if the Astros are still saying no to any rentals, or they're going to, maybe they said, you know what, this is just too good of a deal. We cannot pass on. We're going to have to go get him. And like, for instance, I know one of them being in my mind is Christian Walker, who's gone the last year of his contract with the Diamondbacks. But of course, we'll have that trade deadline special as always. In the few coming days, Angel, shit, trade deadline is literally around the corner.
That's
like, let me pull up the calendar. Shit, a week and a half. A week and a half.
Wow.
A week and a half is the trade deadline. So best believe you better be fasten your seatbelts, because it's going to be a long ride to see what the Astros do for the trade deadline. We've already talked about it. First baseman's probably be not a huge priority, but Astros are probably going to take a look at that. I think more than anything is going to be pitching. I think starting pitching you have to go after and see what's available in the market, even though they don't have a good farm system, not the strongest farm system in MLB rankings, but you never know what could happen. Let's move on to the second half predictions real quick. Second half hero, Angel, I'm going to go with Kyle Tucker just for the fact that he hasn't played since, I want to say, June 5th or June 3rd. One of those beginning the first week of June. I know that. He hasn't played in a while. He's probably going to have to get on some rehab assignments with either AAA or AA, wherever time goes. But I think it's going to be very important for him to be healthy, and he's going to have to contribute, because honestly, he's not going to get that 30-30 season. But being able to heat up going into a deep postseason run to see if the Astros can make it to possibly their ALCS, I think it's going to be a very, very, very vital part if Kyle Tucker is in that lineup for the Astros. So I think for my second half hero, I'm going to go with King Tuck.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a good one. And I agree with you there. I think once Kyle Tucker's back in that lineup, I think he can continue mashing, right? Just the way he basically keep where he left off. But I'm gonna say Framber Valdez. Now, I know Framber Valdez hasn't had a bad season by all means. I mean, he still has a 3.66 ERA. Now, for a pitcher to have 3.66 ERA, that's always good. That's like your third, fourth, fifth starter in that rotation. But Framber Valdez is an ace. Framber Valdez needs to be pitching in the low, having an ERA in the low third, low threes, possibly twos, right there. So as I'm looking at his ERA right now, it's 3.66. That is his worst ERA since 2019 when he had a 5.86 ERA. Now, I know he has another second half of the season to lower that down, right, to work with. Mm-hmm. But him being it's kind of there's a lot of question marks though, because last year you saw an amazing Framber Valdez in that first half, was an all-star. Talks for Cy Young were in the air for Framber Valdez just because that's how great he was. And then the second half, he kind of lost it, right? He finished 12-11. there with 3.45 ERA, and he had a WHIP of 1.126. Now, this year is basically saying what Framber Valdez are the Astros going to get? Are they going to get first half Framber Valdez, second half Framber Valdez? Now, it's been a mixture of both. At times, he's looked phenomenal, and at times, he's looked like he just can't find it on the plate. I think if the Astros are going to continue in the playoff push, want to have success in the playoffs, they're going to have Framber Valdez on their A game. So that's why he's going to be my second half hero. He knows that. He knows he has to be better. He knows he's getting paid to be better. He's trying to earn a contract with the Astros long term wise, but I think in order for him to do that, he has to let the Astros know that he is their ace. I think he has to pitch like an ace, and I think he will pitch like an ace the second half of the season.
Love the confidence, because I think for him, that second half last year, specifically in the postseason, that has to leave a sour taste in that guy's mouth, because just that year previously, you won the World Series and you were just dominating in the postseason as a starting pitcher.
He was in 2022. He was 17-6, just
exactly
dominant.
And not just that, but like too in the postseason, you went against a dominant Phillies lineup that has Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Alec Bohm. I know we're missing another one, but I mean a full stack of great players in that lineup. And 23, it's not that I don't like to use the word choke, but he just underperformed, I would say. Mm-hmm. He underperformed. He wasn't the same Valdez. It could be for the fact that, because like I said, the Astros have been playing till like late October, mid-October to like early November. That could leave a toll on your arm. It could be fatigue, because next thing you know, you got to ramp up. Pitchers and catchers report to spring training than the position players. So that can leave, some fatigue in your arm. But this second half specifically, I think it's just going to be very pivotal for him, just because of how last year, how it ended for the Astros. One win away to go to their third World Series in a row. And I think Framber Valdez, if he pitched well in that game, and I think it was Game 6 of the ALCS, the Astros are probably floating by with another World Series trophy and going, being back-to-back winners and having their third in franchise history.
You can see that.
So that's why I say for Framber, that's a great choice. But keep going. Who's going to be the next guy to heat up in the second half? Who's going to be that guy that's going to help out in the second half? Very crucial.
I'm going to say Alex Bregman. I know contract year could potentially be his final year with the Astros. Didn't start so hot. Finished on a really good note. I think he capitalizes on that. He knows what's at stake. He's a winner. Alex Bregman is one of the most hardworking guys out there. If something's not working, he's always looking to change. And that's the thing that, sometimes change is a good thing. And for Alex Bregman, it can be a tweak in the stands. Like, he's not afraid to change something up. He's not afraid to, he's always open to new ideas. So I think with Alex Bregman, same thing that we've been saying with the other guys, if the Astros are going to have success, they're going to have to rally around Alex Bregman as well. I think he would. He knows, again, like I said, he knows what's at stake. Contract, possible World Series, right? Continue with this playoff push. And I think just like the Astros, I think Alex Bregman is a second half player as well. And like you said, like there's a glimpse of heating up in the last 2 months of the first half, and I think he can continue that to the next half.
It's a great one because, like you said, it is a contract year, possibly the last dance. You can kind of quote Jordan and the '90s Bulls, but we're not going to go to NBA talk. But my guy who heats up in the second half, that's going to be a huge part for the Astros to make another run to the postseason. And this was the guy I picked for an MVP, being unbiased in the beginning of the season when we were talking about our rookie of the years and all that. Yordan Alvarez. That guy is going to be a huge part in this lineup. He's done a really good job. He has 19 home runs, 52 RBIs, almost at 300 batting average with a 297. He's done a good job. Obviously, everybody knows about the month of June, how he hits. July, he's looked the same way. But second half numbers, Yordan Alvarez is just a different breed. In 22, 307 batting average in the second half. 2023, 308 batting average in the second half. You could possibly see Yordan Alvarez getting I would say even 310, over 310 in this year. If everything goes well, health wise as well for him. Just to remind y'all too that the guy only had one at bat the All Star game. He knew that was the plan. Had to walk, just had to get healthy for the second part of the season. But to continue on more on that postseason numbers of last year, Angel 465 batting average, 20 hits, 6 home runs, 15 RBIs, and 12 runs scored in 11 games. 465 batting average.
Wow.
You could have put that guy actually as a co ALCS MVP, honestly. But of course, it goes to the winner, and the Rangers did win, and Douglas Garcia was the guy.
Yeah.
Other than that, this Cuban has just been different in the second half. I think he's just going to have to continue being a pivotal role until Kyle Tucker comes back. With those two guys being in the lineup, it could be very dangerous. And the Astros, the sky's the limit for that offense, how it could continue going. The way Yainer Diaz has been swinging the bat, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, even Jeremy Pena. I mean, everybody's been swinging the bat really well. This offense has scored a lot of runs. They lead first or second in the American League in a batting average. So, like I said, Yordan Alvarez goes, and we said for Altuve, when Altuve goes, the whole team goes. Well, Alvarez is kind of like almost the same thing. If he hits RBIs, you're going to be best believe the next person up is going to be set up in pretty good form with runners in scoring position.
Absolutely. And honestly, it's kind of stopped. It's kind of stopped. It's kind of hard to stop Yordan Alvarez, just as the Blue Jays are having to walk him 3 times in that last game, twice intentionally. So when he's on, like you said. But I kind of like how this podcast is going. Like especially naming our first half MVPs. Let's start with our first half. God, that has to be a fiesta because these players were crucial to the Astros first half, and without these guys, the Astros, again, like we said earlier, are not where they're at right now. And it starts with who's been bringing to me. It's me, Bruno Blanco. I think he's been the most consistent player for the Astros this season. Phenomenal job. 3.3 WAR, 9-4, 256 ERA. Like I said earlier, he's 5th in ERA and first in opponent batting average with 169. He's also first in hits per 9 innings with 5.3 and 7th in WHIP and 0.97. Whenever you have a WHIP under 1, that's how you know you're on, because that's that stands for wins, hits, innings pitched, and the average is 1. Anything below that is pretty phenomenal there. Who's going to be bringing the 30th for Carne? Give me Yordan Alvarez. That's going to be your second half MVP. The one's going to be hitting up. Well, Lorenzo, he's already heating up as it is right now. 297 batting average, was an all-star. 19 home runs, 52 RBIs. Leads the Astros in RBIs and on-base percentage with 9.912. He's tied with Kyle Tucker in home runs with 19 and has the most doubles on the team with 21. Pretty phenomenal numbers. Whenever you can lead the Astros, a team that's been to the postseason, 7 times, almost 3 World Series in a row, that's how you know you're on such a good team, such a deep lineup, and being able to lead in most categories, that's how you know you're such an elite hit.
You think he's a Adina or a Mais kind of guy?
I would say Mais.
I think so too. I want to say like he just gives me that corn vibes, man.
Well, honestly, I think like Mais is a little bit more international. Like it's like they eat a lot more, like a lot more countries compared to Arenas things. Not, I'm not gonna say strictly Mexico, but a lot less common.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but who's ever bringing that white rice or Spanish rice, whatever he decides to bring, to be 100 Brown. I know that 4.14 ERA isn't pretty. I know that 1.36 WHIP isn't pretty as well, but he is 8-6, 1.1 WAR. Leads the team in strikeouts, second most in wins, and 104.1 innings pitched. But without his resurgence, like Lorenzo was giving you the facts earlier, without him being able to find it in the middle of the season, because that's pretty hard to do. Sometimes, like a lot of players in spring training work on mechanical issues and they find it, they don't lose it. But finding it during the middle of the season, when there's really no time for you to work on mechanics, there's no really time for you to go, work on things, because every 5th day you're out there pitching, and being able to find it like that, pretty phenomenal there. So I think without him, he's invited to the first step kind of second. Without him, there's, again, like we said earlier, like kind of like the theme of this play. Without these players, the Astros will be not where they're at right now. We're bringing the beans to beat Jose Altuve, 2.9 WAR, 14 home runs, 44 RBIs, 57 runs. Just like Lorenzo said, that the lineup revolves around Yordan Alvarez. So does it also revolves around Jose Altuve, and when he's on as well. Eighth in batting average, which is first on the Astros. Leads the Astros in stolen base with 15, and has the most hits on the Astros with 119, which is also third in MLB. I don't know about you, but I think this party's a fiesta for you, Lorenzo. What do you think there?
Dude, yeah, it's a huge fiesta. I mean, are we invited? Shit, because they don't even look like we might not be bringing nothing. We just might be bringing ourselves and just hosting the whole thing. But I mean, you're right. Everybody's really pivotal part of why the Astros are in first place right now.
And then a bonus one, Jake Myers. There's a lot of question
Ooh,
marks
a
with Jake
bonus.
Myers. There was a lot of question marks with Jake Myers coming to the season about his bat. I know I was one of those persons saying that like it should be Chas McCormick because we gave me the opportunity, not Jake Myers, but he proved me wrong. He has 239 batting average, 10 home runs and 40 RBIs. But the way he's shown defensively, I think he's found his groove out there in center field again. I know like ever since he crashed into the wall, he kind of been like a little reluctant to like flash out on defense, but he's got it again. And any offense he provides in that bottom order of the lineup is pretty phenomenal for the Astros.
Confidence was the biggest thing coming into spring training. Joe Spada said it for him. If Jake Myers is going to play in the MLB, Major League Baseball, in center field for the Houston Astros, confidence was going to be the biggest part for him to play at this level. And sure enough, I mean, he's done a really good job. Now, I will say, do you think he has the most trade value between him and Chas McCormick?
He does, but
Just
they
to
won't trade him.
throw a little caveat on top. And
He
do you
does.
trade him? Because, okay, well, yeah, go ahead.
He does, but I don't see the Astros moving him. If anything, I think Chas McCormick will be the odd man out. Or I don't like, even though Mauricio Dubon could be a good trade bait, I don't see it happening just because of his utility, right? He can play infield, play outfield. I think the odd man out will be Chas McCormick at this point. Now, can you still get a pretty good either player for Chas McCormick? Absolutely, you can if you throw it like you mix it in with a prospect, because just of what he's shown, like making that defensive catch in the playoffs in the World Series, as a matter of fact, and showing the glimpses he showed last year on defense. Sometimes a change of scenery is good for a player, or maybe just playing every day. Like I know Chas McCormick doesn't play every day just because he has Kyle Tucker, Ren Alvarez, Jake Myers, and sometimes just like that stability. Just as Corey Jokes gets a chance to play every day with Chicago, lights it up over there. Sometimes he needs a chance, maybe change the scenery to make it work. And I would feel like if the Astros were to trade someone from the major league team, it would be Chas McCormick and not Jake Myers.
Trade deadline special coming soon. Coming soon. Like I said, we'll have a two-part for that. Maybe a special guest to talk about the trade deadline coming in a week and a half. But Angel, take it away with the train station, please.
Yeah, two more segments to go. Train station, and so I know I usually do around the horn, but I want you to take care of it this time. You were there for the Astros, eyewitness over there. I think that'd be
All right.
better to
Go ahead.
So
Start it off.
with the train station, let's get some news from Kyle Tucker, which honestly, like we kind of talked about earlier in last podcast, is surprised that he's not back yet. And I thought he would be back this series against the Mariners, but it hasn't worked out that way. So on Friday, this is again all per Brian McTaggart. He's like he did a really good job of keeping all of us informed of what's going on with these guys. Kyle Tucker did some outfield work yesterday and played catch today, which was yesterday. Next hurdle will be running. Now, when as someone who used to run, I know when your shin hurt, like used to, right?
I like how you say used to.
Your shin hurting while you're running is not a very good feeling. Like even some slight pain could really debar you from going, like from testing it, especially like I'm not gonna say it's like the same as a hamstring, but it hurts and it's like uncomfortable. So having that be the next hurdle is kind of encouraging that when I guy tells me that he's almost back, that he's almost ready to go. And this is per Brian McTaggart on what Espada said on the Kyle Tucker situation. He said we need to get him running and get him to push some weight on that leg. He's hitting, he's throwing, but we're not quite there yet to let him loose on the bases. That will be the next step. Pretty good update on him because like the biggest talk is that he wasn't doing anything any baseball activity. Now that he's throwing, now that he's hitting, getting that feel for the baseball again, I think that'd be good. I think he will need a rehab assignment, like you mentioned earlier, and once he gets that, I think he goes back to what he's done. But again, still surprised he's not back yet. It must have been a really deep bone bruise there, or a really deep shin contusion, because I'm so surprised by that.
Small steps, Angel. Small steps.
Absolutely. Hey, but I mean, the Astros are going to need Kyle Tucker 100% healthy, and they've honestly haven't really missed him. Just the way like the great they played. Honestly, like, that offense has had the next man up mentality, like you said, and
Yeah.
it's just pretty phenomenal that they've been able to do that without Kyle Tucker in the lineup. And there wasn't really deep updates on the rest of the guys. Justin Verlander, this is on Friday. Brandon Tiger said that Verlander would throw in the bullpen tomorrow, which is today, so he's going to be throwing in the bullpen today. And then Luis Garcia on Friday, it was said that Luis Garcia would return to the mound tomorrow, which is today again. For the first time since July 4th, he would throw a bullpen. And then Victor Caratini, I don't know if you saw that new prospect that the Astros just signed, Victor Caratini. Yeah. He was in a rehab. He was with the FACL Astros and now skyrocketed to Corpus Christi and smashed a home run yesterday for his rehab assignment with Victor Caratini. So, I mean, Cesar Salazar has been phenomenal, but once Victor Caratini comes back, he'll regain his position.
Yeah, crazy how that prospect just hits a home run just out of nowhere.
Absolutely. But Victor Caratini will be back, guys. He will be back. Okay. Were you going to say something?
Oh, I just said sounds good, man. Shit. Go on.
Absolutely. And then, unless you were sleeping under a rock for the past week, like me, the Astros drafted 19 players in the Major League Amateur Draft. He selected 11 pitchers, 4 outfielders, 2 infielders, and 2 catchers. Which, honestly, I know the Astros are big on best available, but having Yanier Diaz as your catcher, and I know it's the MLB draft is different from different drafts. Like for football, you draft a guy to be first round to be in your on the field that same season, right? So I know baseball takes some time to mature, but drafting a catcher in the first round and Walker Janik from Sam Houston State, what are your thoughts on that?
I was kind of shocked. I mean, the kid does have the tools. I don't know if you saw his highlights with Sam. Pop time looks really great, and the arm looks good. He could hit too. So I was kind of shocked though, like you were saying, catcher in the first round. But maybe the kid could develop into being one of the best catchers in the league later on in the future. Maybe he changes different positions, goes to first, like some catchers do. They go in the corners if they don't be behind the plate. So it just takes time. Just never know what can happen. But it was an interesting pick. But I like to see what this kid can bring to the table for the Astros, especially being in Sam Houston State, Huntsville, Texas, just like an hour and a half or an hour away from Houston.
Yeah, I mean, great pick though. Like you said, phenomenal stats, phenomenal pop time, very defensive catcher. It could also be set up for the future. Maybe Yanier Diaz moves to first base, like you said, or maybe even Walker Janik could potentially play first base. I don't know, but I kind of do agree with that mentality though, because next man up. Because I mean, best player available. You want to return a guy and not have it pan out, just as Marco Pale or stuff, or like players like that, right? But a pretty good draft. Do you want me to name all the guys that were drafted, or you just want me to?
You don't have to. You could just go through the list. It don't matter to me. No matter.
Yeah, so it's like the most notable ones would be Walker Janik, obviously was first round for Sam Houston State. Brian Ferrucci, was in the third round for the Astros from UC San Diego. Parker Smith, right-handed pitcher from Rice University, so like staying kind of local there. Cole Holzer, right-handed pitcher, Liberty University, that was in the 5th round. And 6th round, Caden Powell, shortstop from Seminole State, Oklahoma. I think someone that was pretty interesting that kind of really got my attention, I'm going to say, is Drew Vogel from Murray State, Kentucky. Pretty phenomenal shortstop there. Pretty good stuff. Does any player stand out for you?
Not really. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't focused at the MLB draft at that time. But like you said, it is just different from other drafts from different leagues. NBA, you have the G League, but some first round picks go automatically to the team and start making a pivotal run for their team. In NFL, same thing. First round pick, you best believe you better get in that starting lineup of either the offense or the defense, or maybe you're just a backup to one of the star players. So very different from the other leagues, but baseball players have to develop some way somehow, especially going from the collegiate level to the pros.
I don't know. Something that I have been noticing the past few drafts, like maybe since like 3 years ago, is a lot more college players are being drafted than high school players. I think that was like kind of changing a little bit. I think it was like a mix, like a huge mixture of both. But if you look at like the first 20 picks, I think only two or three were from high school, and the rest were all college players. So it shows the more elite of college baseball, and kind of like college baseball is kind of like a way for you to skyrocket to the major leagues. Just asked Paul Skeens, who was drafted like a few years ago, Ben Joyce from Tennessee and the Angels, Zach Nato as well. I think like playing in college kind of gives you that leg up and being in the major leagues quicker too.
Yeah, most definitely. But you did already talk about how they already signed 8 players this year.
No, I have not actually, but go ahead. I mean, you want to take it over? Or you want me to do it?
Go ahead, I will take it real quick. Cole Hertzler from Liberty University, like Angel had said, 5th rounder. Dylan Howard, Ryan Smith, Ramsey David, Drew Vogel, Ethan Wagner, Grant Burleson, Twine Palmer, Max Holy, or Holly, which it probably is Max Holy, Lucas Spence, and Danny Trejo. 3 of them were non-drafted that they had signed. They haven't yet signed their first rounder, being in Walter Janik, but the deadline to sign their draft picks are on August 1st. So they
Yeah,
do
they
have
have
a couple. They still have a couple of days to get that rolling. But pretty good draft for the Astros.
I mean, absolutely. I think again, like the mentality that they have and they expand up, it always gonna make this team better.
Especially when you got a guy that used to be a VP of scouting in Dana Brown.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
general manager kind of has a uptick over other GMs, but he still gives the play to the guy with the amateur scouting department and all that type of stuff. He puts his trust in them, but he'll still throw his little input here and there, and I guess he can even give his tips too as well when it comes to those picks.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sorry, I'm charging my computer. You see me off screen here.
So when Angel's charging his computer, we'll go around the horn. And the American League, if like Angel said, if you were hitting on a rock like he was, they did win the All-Star game against the National League 5-3. Jerry Duran did win the All-Star game MVP, hitting that 2-run go-ahead home run in the 5th inning. Teoscar Hernandez won the home run derby as well. If you have not checked out, I did write about those things on our Skinner. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure you go check out. I was able to talk to Jerry Duran's father actually about the whole
Oh, how was that?
that whole moment, dude. I mean, family was there. 6 of his family members were there. Being able to capture that moment with him, it's a special feeling, especially from a parent, like especially like his father, that's helped him through tournaments and camps and all that stuff. So very, very, very nice man to talk to get his thoughts on Jaron Duran winning the All-Star Game MVP. But like I said, Teoscar Hernandez in the beginning of the show, I was kind of shocked. I did not think Teo was gonna win the home run derby, but that, like, if you did not see the finals, Angel, Bobby Wood Jr. was maybe a foot or 2 feet away from hitting that ball of out of the park. Well, basically to the stands, and it was going to the bullpen in left center. Um, but Teoscar Hernandez did get lucky. He did that on the swing off against Alec Bohm to advance to the finals, and the finals he won because of Witt Jr. just missing the ball to clear the wall. So it was honestly, it was a really great home run derby, and you would have not expected from guys like Teoscar Hernandez, Alec Bohm, and Bobby Witt Jr. And I had even mentioned saying Alec Bohm. I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know how Alec Bohm and the home run derby kind of sounds, but hey, he did prove me wrong. He did put on a show. He did a really great job out there.
Yeah, honestly, the beach house that we're staying on, they didn't really have cable, so I didn't watch any of it. I didn't watch
You
no.
didn't have an
Awesome.
extended stream or nothing like that.
I could have downloaded, but I want to put my information in TV and then forget to log out, so I didn't log
Maybe your
into
phone.
anything. I didn't really. Again, I wasn't really on my phone, so yeah.
You did say that. But a little fun fact on the All-Star game. Since Jose Altuve left the National League to the American League because of the Astros moving from 2012 to 2013 to the AL, the American League have won, I want to say 10 out of their 11 meetings in the All-Star game.
Oh, wow.
Remember, National League won last year on a go-ahead home run from Elias Diaz in Seattle. Other than that, the American League has been just a juggernaut in these All-Star games and winning. But if you looked on the lineups, both of them against each other, National League has some great players, but I saw the American League. I was like, there's no way the AL loses. There's no way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with
But
you there. It was
seeing Paul Skeens, though, throw, dude, in that first inning was pretty nice. It was pretty cool to see. Going against real quick, Gunnar Henderson, Stephen Kwan, Juan Soto, which that one was an epic match, and Aaron Judge. He almost got close to facing Yordan Alvarez, but other than that, seeing him being able to go out there in the All-Star game, shout out to Tony Lavello for letting him get that opportunity to start one of the most electric rookies in the National League right now, and really in Major League Baseball, to do that on front stage. That was pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, I think Hoskins is one of those guys that doesn't even try to throw hard, and the ball just flies out of his hand. It's unbelievable.
Telling you, dude, is that splinker. You got to find a way to see how he throws that splinker. I want to try to throw it just to see how it, like, the movement and all that, the vertical tail and the horizontal tail, and maybe get that pitch on Statcast or something.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
But I did not expect an hour show on these type of topics. But of course, we love giving you the information. We love giving you the statistical data, all that type of stuff. We are not nerds. We just love doing the research to prove our points. But other than that, that is the ending of our show, episode 196. The Astros first half are in the books. The second half starts now. Astros do play today at 8:40. The lineup is posted if y'all have not seen. Pretty sure you'll get some updates from Chandler Rome and Brian McTaggart, more on Kyle Tucker and other players in the Astros organization. But if you have not done so and you're on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call this app, make sure you go to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like as well on this video, get all the content that we're going to put out from the All-Star game, as well as the future of the second half of the season. Angel, you got anything else before we sign off?
No, thank you for your patience. I know we haven't really recorded in a while, and appreciate all the support, listeners. We had a pretty good crowd, and appreciate all the support.
Most definitely, podcast platforms. If you already missed the video, we'll have the YouTube video later on, as well on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But till then, episode 197 will probably look like honestly, it looked like tomorrow is the end of the series against the Mariners.
I was thinking that's
I just thought about that too. So more than anything, you're going to hear our voices tomorrow. If you haven't done so, make sure you do go ahead and look in the beginning of this first half, second half start of our predictions, as well as coming up in the next part of the season. But till then, y'all stay safe. Have a great Saturday. Vibes are high. I already got Code Brewskis out. And we'll talk to y'all Sunday, give you that recap of the Mariners series, preview against the Oakland Athletics, as the Astros will be going to Oakland, I want to say, for the last time.
I think so.
I think so too. But till then, we'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Stay safe.
Peace.